Hello, everybody out there. Thanks for tuning in. Um, Michigan USC week. We're back talking to Coach Thornbladh, getting his breakdown of Arkansas State and what we need to do to play a great USC team in the big house. Wanted to start off, shout out Chad Tuff, Chad Carr Pediatric Brain Trauma Center. Make sure you go online, donate. Every little bit helps. Coach Carr was great to me as a child and growing up, and good friend of my dad's. And then obviously we know Jason very well, and his one son is CJ is off at Notre Dame, and now his other son is Tommy Carr, who is 3-0 at Saline, and
Tearing it up. He's tearing it up, Tommy.
he's tearing it up. So another great Carr quarterback, and hopefully we'll get a chance at this one when it's all said and done.
Yep. We can't lose Carr. We can't lose to this Carr. We lost one, and we respect his decision. Now he's my favorite player on the Notre Dame team.
Yes, sir.
But because I love him, and I've known them all since they were Jason's kids, and Lloyd's grandchildren. So last year we had a wonderful event that was hosted by Regent Ron Weiser, a great friend, great American ambassador to Slovakia, and who's done great service to the university. And along with Barry Bender and my wife, Tina, we were able to generate a lot of money last year for Chad Tuff. We're proud of that, over $400,000. If you can give, please give. It's a wonderful cause, and we've made great strides in that area. So we all have charities that are important to us. Of course, our connection with Coach Carr, who my colleague and great friend in Michigan Icon. That was his grandson. And so we support that. I might also mention that Ron Weiser has done great service to the university. He won't be a regent anymore, but I know he's still going to be involved. And that will be a loss because he's done such great work for the University of Michigan. An unbelievable man, gifted, talented, and his passion is the University of Michigan. That said, I'm optimistic. This is the first Big Ten game.
Yeah.
First Big Ten game.
Well, Coach, hold on. You got to tell me the one thing I'm enjoying of being a retired football coach is I'm not doing games on Saturdays, or I'm not watching film or breaking down. I went golfing after the first half of the Michigan Arkansas State game. So if you could tell me a little bit more about that.
If I would call it disloyalty, or priorities have shifted. But
things have changed.
It was a great rebound game. Now, a lot of people are worried that we didn't beat them 60-0. I think Arkansas State is they're not as talented as the University of Michigan.
Well coached.
They have a fine coach there. And we talked about him. He's been around. And but I think it was a good rebound game. Now, what is still glaring is all the mistakes we make. And we're a mistake team right now, and you cannot be a mistake team and beat University of Southern California. I can assure you of that. We're going to have to beat our very best. But we recognize that we lost 13 players to the pros. We lost a first-round quarterback who perhaps is not the best quarterback to ever play at the University of Michigan. That is Tom Brady. But while Tom Brady was at Michigan, I don't think he certainly didn't accomplish what JJ and Gracie and some of these other guys. Tom was evolving, and Saint Tom Brady. But we lost JJ McCarthy, and he was extraordinary. And in some regards, it's not too different than SC. They lost a Heisman Trophy winner, who was Caleb, who was Williams, who was unbelievably productive and a great player for them. But so the Arkansas State game, the score is not indicative of the difference in the game. So a lot of people are looking at it and they're saying, well, geez, Arkansas State, they lost to Texas. Arkansas State played them closely. It was not a close game. The game was decided in the first half.
What positives did you see out of their coach? Like, obviously,
Well, we
everybody's
won the game.
talking.
We won the game. Hey, anytime you win a game, particularly after losing, that was a devastating defeat for all of us. It showed up, some glaring errors and some weaknesses on our team. And it also demonstrated that we're young in a lot of positions and we're not as good right now as we need to be to get to the title. At the same time, remember what the old coach said, you never stay the same, you get better or you get worse. I believe we got better in that game. We got better because we won. We ran the ball really successfully. Mullings is emerging into one of the top backs in the nation. And the turnovers are horrible, and that's what's cost Davis the starting position. You cannot accept those. I love that kid, and his story is wonderful, but you can't turn the
It's not,
ball over. You cannot do it. You cannot do it.
it's not over for him, coach. You still got a lot of story left. This is going to be.
I agree.
He's
This
got
is
a
a
lot,
total setback for him,
but
and that's one thing we can't do with SC.
yeah,
We cannot give him a short. We can't turn the ball over, and if we turn it over, we can't give him a short field.
the craziest stat that I've ever heard is Warren Davis's stat line: 0 incompleted passes. He either threw it to our team or he threw it to the other team. All of his passes somebody caught.
Wait.
It's I've never seen anything like that in my, I don't know, 35 years of football.
Davis Warren is completing, aside from the interceptions, was completing 66% of his passes.
Hey,
So,
Moss Miller's doing 72 or something.
yeah, 72.7 Moss Miller,
Yeah.
and he's throwing for over 300 yards a game. We're not doing that, but that's not who we are. We're not a passing team. So anyway, the positives are we won the game. We saw, we made some errors. Those need to be corrected. We cannot repeat those errors. We cannot repeat them. We got to get better. We got to get better. We don't stay the same. We get better. So we have to have a real emphasis on ball security. The quarterback who is entrusted with the ball has to make good choices. The biggest thing a quarterback has to do is make good choices, whatever they are. And we can talk about Orgy in a minute, if you'd like.
Yeah, we'll get there.
There's still a lot of missed assignments out there. We've been playing a lot of man coverage. I'd like to see us play more zone. I'm never going to second guess Coach Martindale, but I think we need to play some zone.
What's our blitz percent?
There's two theories on how to defend a great quarterback. One of them is put pressure on him, a lot of pressure, and hit him and rattle him and make him move his feet and get him out of the pocket and destroy his rhythm. The other one is you tell your front four, and we have a talented front four. We got Stewart, Graham, Grant. We have good players up there. Now you got to get pressure on this guy, and then run some games up front when he passes, and get some push so you make him reset his feet. But disguise coverage, play some zone coverages, play some man underneath, too deep, do some different things, and make him beat you with his arm. Because if you play man against him, he will riddle you. Those guys, it's too hard. You can't, unless you sack the guy, you got to get sacks or get close to him and have high pressures. So if you're going to blitz, you got to get home. And if you can't get home, people are going to rip you apart. When we had Carter with Wangler, we couldn't wait to get man coverage because we knew how to get the ball to him in man coverage, and we knew no one could cover him. And SC has talented receivers and a very gifted quarterback.
Coach,
so it was with this kid. Actually, when I look at this game, a large part of it's going to depend on the performance of our defense.
Oh, it's imperative that we play different type of football. We got to get home. If we get home on the quarterback, we can play how we play.
We have gifted defensive linemen. I don't care what you say. We got to get them free somehow. We got to run some games in there. Now SC is going to, when I look at these, I always look at the, run pass balance ratios, and SC is going to pass about 56% of the time and run 44% of the time. Michigan has got it back to where we've always been. With Jimmy, every week it was 55% run, 45% pass every single week. Now we are 56 on the season, 56% run because we ran the ball against successfully against really not a strong defense at Arkansas State, but we still ran it successfully 56% of the time. So we're back in there and throwing it 44% of the time. Now with Orgy, and the only thing, and I love our coach, I don't know why he announced, he didn't have to announce he was going to start. And that would have made SC, probably defend, come up with two different packages and might have surprised them a little bit when we come out with Alex as the starter because his strengths are different than Davis's. And we're going to be, we're going to have to run the ball successfully to beat SC. And he's a gifted athlete who can come out of the pocket. So we have to devise ways where run pass option football. Heck, maybe we should get in the I formation. I saw our old coach Jim Harbaugh got in the I formation. We have a good fullback. We got good tailbacks. Maybe get in the I formation and run some stuff out of that. But I think with Orgy, you threaten the perimeter. But with his ability to run, and now to do that, we're going to have our tackles. And maybe that's keep a tight end because our great tight end is out, and that is a loss. But I think we have good backup tight ends, young guys. They came in and played well in the second half after he got hurt. So as we look at this game, we got to rely on our defense. Our defense has to play great. We got to get those front five guys, those linebackers. We got to get them flying. And then we got to mix up the coverages. I don't think we can sit in man coverage and blitz every down. By the same token, we're going to have to move the ball on the ground. But when they get 8 in the box, and if SC knows what they're doing, and I think they do under their new defensive coordinator, and you could talk about him that came over from UCLA but has experience in the NFL. His dad was actually the head coach of the Chargers at one time. When he brings 8 in the box, then we're going to get Orgy to deliver the ball on some single routes. I don't think we could expect him to sit back there and read progressions, to go through 5 or 6, 4 progressions. But I think we can get him out there and he can make good choices. We're going to have to pass the ball. We're going to have to complete some passes to hurt him. Last week, receiver came wide open. We missed him. Inexplicably, the receiver stopped running after he came wide open, and that's what caused the incompletion. It was not Orgy's pass. People looked at it as a bad pass. It was not. It was on the receiver who stopped running. But it also showed that we can get some guys open deep when they come up to stop the run. But we're going to have to control the line of scrimmage on both sides to win this game. Can we do it? Yes. Do we have to be perfect? Yes. Are they a talented team? Yes. Are they as talented as the Pete Carroll teams we played in the 90s and early 2000s? I don't think so, but it is a team that is evolving also. It has a lot of talent and presents a great challenge. By the same token, they're coming out to the Midwest and playing in Michigan Stadium. It is not an easy place for opponents to play. And so they're going to have their eyes wide open when they run in there. They're not accustomed to playing in front of that many people. And they're not accustomed to the fans in the Midwest and the passion that exists. And so I think those are all things in our favor. I think we have to play perfect football, but I think we can beat SC. It's the first Big Ten game, and that is important. Aside from an undefeated season, all of our goals, all of our team's goals are ahead of us, and we can accomplish those. But we got to get better, and we got to come out and win, and we got to beat SC. It shall not be easy. It's going to be exciting. I can't wait for it. I am optimistic about Michigan. That we're young, we're evolving. We got young coaches. Now, I don't like them being criticized. They're just starting into the game, but we got to get going, and we got to get better fast because this is a challenge, and this whole schedule is a challenge. So I'm not going to throw in a towel and say we're not going to win a Big Ten because we're going to play the games, and we'll see who's going to win. And there's a lot that goes into a game, and that ball has points on it, and it bounces funny sometimes. And if it bounces your way, that can help you. I can remember playing some fairly talented teams way back when I played and coached, and we forced the ball to bounce our way. And when it did, we beat some teams that were probably maybe of equal talent. The Nebraska team one time in the Fiesta Bowl with quarterback Harbaugh, and some other games like that. So other teams like that. And the game was decided by a team that made some great plays, opportunistic plays. I do think our defense has to get some turnovers. And a defensive score would help. And we cannot play from behind in this game. If SC we give them a short field and they get ahead of us, we are not built to pass the ball every down and come back fast. That's not the way we're built. So we're going to have to keep the game close and tight with great kicking, maintain field position, play great defense, and then move the ball, but be patient as we do it. And then when they come up in the box, we got to be able to strike by getting Shamaz or one of those young receivers that are starting to evolve open deep and hit them with a deep one. Or indoor, when you do get 8 men in the box, once you break the line of scrimmage, if you can do it, and we've seen Donovan do it, Donovan Edwards do it, you can go the distance too. We're going to rely. We hope to get some big plays, but we got to pound. We got to be smash mouth football. One of the questions I have, one of the things that'll be interesting to see, if Sharon, who has not been calling the plays, Coach Campbell has, starts to get back involved in calling the plays, which he did so well for many years at Michigan. It starts, Coach Schembecker was the offensive coordinator.
I was going to say, Coach, you really think? I mean, you think he's not calling any of the plays?
I think he's influencing it, but I don't think the plays are coming from him every play.
Not every play. Well, he's got.
I think he's assumed the same role that Jim Harbaugh did.
Yeah, you have to.
Where he's not managing the game totally, but I think he's got to get back into calling the plays and influencing the plays. He's proven to be great at that, and not to usurp Coach, the offensive coordinator's authority, but it has to be a collaboration, and he's got to help. He's got to assert himself.
The buck stops at Sharon Moore. If things aren't going your way with your football team, head coaches they try to point you in the right direction, but when things go wrong, they grab a hold and lead the way really quick. I mean, it's your butt on the end of the day it's. I mean, I know teams that you lose the first game, you split games, and now all of a sudden, it's chaos on the coaching staff. So,
in Michigan, you're expected to win every game.
Yeah, well, you're always trying to evolve too. Like, calling plays, you get the spring game maybe together if it's a new staff. It takes time to know Sharon and know the offensive coordinator. Hey, okay, this is what you like. Okay, now you got to go manage, special teams or this or that. And now I'm calling the plays without any direction or, you can't skip a beat. So you got to know each other inside and out and kind of, they're game planning together. They know what they're calling, but it definitely, the flow of the game through the headset, where coaches are at on the field, guys that go from the field up into the box. That stuff changes.
Rob, you have your schedule on offense and defense, maybe, I don't know, but certainly on offense, you have a schedule. You have it all out there. You have 1st and 10 on the right hash, 1st and 10 on the left hash, second and medium on the middle, in the middle of the field. So it's all down there, 3rd and long. You got it all down there.
It's all there, Coach.
But the great play callers, and there's some great ones out there, get a feel for the game. And, they get a feel and a rhythm. Same thing with defensive coaches. And, they start to be able to anticipate what the opponent's going to do very quickly. They're able to decipher, and they're able to identify very quickly what the other team's game plan and then implement the right strategies to defend it or move the ball against that defense.
I agree. I think, Coach, just to touch on
great field coaches. They're out there.
They're out there, Coach.
And Sharon Moore is one of them.
Yeah. He said last year when he had to be the head coach and call the plays, that's what I'm talking about. He comes down. Now I'm calling plays from the sideline. I'm used to calling them from the box. It's a different ballgame down there.
You see it completely differently.
That's the feel.
You get a feel for, you get a hot player. You get a guy who's starting to run the ball well. Running backs, it's my opinion, need to carry the ball a few times, get to feel the game, get hit a few times, and then sort of get into the rhythm. I don't like I don't like substituting him quickly. Now
Yeah.
we are doing a little bit by committee,
Yeah.
but I'll tell you, I wouldn't mind putting that big Mullins at the top of the eye, putting that Bredesen, our fullback, back there and run some I formation. People are starting to do that again.
I think it's
Now
I think it's coming back, coach.
you start to pound them a little bit, pound them,
I
and good lead back football.
I believe I think Alex Orji can play for us. I think there's been multiple successful quarterbacks throughout the years that have half the field to read. They read, 1 to 2 guys. They have a check down. So they have a route combination and then a check down.
Do what he can do.
You've
Take
said
his strengths and
yes.
exploit them. Don't ask him to do what he can't do. He is not a drop back. He's not Quinn Evers, who's going to drop back and make great throws. He is a guy that's going to threaten the defense with his feet, though.
Oh,
And he made that great. We completed 1 touchdown pass. That was to Donovan.
he can impose his will too, coach. You
Let him get going a little bit too.
yeah.
Quarterbacks are no different than the running backs I talked about, or anybody else in the game for that matter. You got to get hit a few times to and then start to get the feel of the thing, and then get some momentum. And he's no different. So let him do some things early. Let him make some easy completions, get some confidence, get some momentum, and get going. He is a gifted athlete. Now he'll play in the NFL. He might not be a quarterback, but that's how gifted a kid he is. I mean, he is really gifted athlete. He can run, and he's strong. We got this big, strong Mullins back there. We got Donovan come out. We got a young man named Hall back there.
I think Donovan's
fullback. Now we got to give our tackle some help. And the way you do that, the right tackle, and some of the kids are struggling a little bit. They're getting better. Remember what I said? Some of these guys, you'll see them struggle, then about 5 or 6 years from now, they'll be starters in the NFL. So that doesn't mean they do not have the ability and they're not going to get there. But early on, they haven't been blocked successfully at a high percentage. Now, I think our football will change a little bit because and you can talk about this, run pass, RPO, run pass option, run or pass is really you're going to block zone as opposed to gap. Gap's usually going to, that means you'll see some guards and center pulls and some things like that where you try to block angles. So I think our football will be a little bit different. Now, SC.
I think it's going to help Donovan Edwards.
Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I think the zone, and I think the way he runs, I think with the quarterback option, he hits holes. So if he can get a guy to step to the quarterback and get the ball, I mean, that's when he's going to break free. I'm just looking for him to have a big game against USC. I'm not down on him. I just had to say that because people are crazy, man. He's
the last game. That's in everything in life. But that's the way it is. But he's going to be fine. He's proven. He's proven talent. And I think so. What you were kind of saying, if we can execution.
Yeah.
Execute your technique. Do it in a coordinated fashion. Everybody has to be successful on each play with their assignment. They got to complete their assignment successfully, and then we start to move the ball. Same thing is true on defense. We have the most talented defensive line in the country, and I want to see them start to wreak some havoc. So they should be able to. Now, I don't know what the problem is. I know we have new coaches over there, but we got to get those guys loose. I'll take Mason Graham and Grant, and I'll go anywhere in the country, and with those guys are great players, but they have not been, highly productive. Now, people know.
I'm also wondering. I'm wondering how they're getting coached too, because a lot of, let's just say, last defense wasn't necessarily about them, and they were breakout players. Now they're the center of the defense. Now they want to get off blocks sooner, get tackles. I mean, that's great, but a lot of the defensive tackle position is eating gaps up, taking up men, stretching the defense, spilling stuff.
And they play hard. And they're playing more snaps than they have historically too, because we had such depth. We had Jenkins and other kids there last year. But I did want to mention this: the SC defense, which was one of the really maligned last year. They could score all these points with Caleb, but they couldn't stop anybody.
121st in the country, coach.
Has been greatly improved. And they brought this coach over from UCLA, and he came over across town. But the greatest improvement has been stopping the run. They could not stop the run, and so LSU ran with a vaunted offense attack and really some good running backs and offensive linemen. They only rushed for 117 yards. So Michigan has got to run for at least 200 yards to win, and we got to throw for at least 100 or more. Now they've been throwing for 300 yards a game. He's only played 2 games, but he's only, and the kid is only throwing 11 interceptions. I mean, 1 interception, 11. He's throwing 11 touchdowns versus 1 interception.
They're playing.
Plus is good.
They're playing a very.
Lincoln Riley, whatever you say about him, is a great quarterback coach. He's had Heisman Trophy winners at Oklahoma and then at SC. I mean, he's really gifted, so he knows how to coach those kids.
Coach, they're balanced right now. Their leading receivers at tight end. Their receiving yards are all spread out. They got running backs that are getting in the system. The guys are blocking. This is not a regular, a star-studded, Lincoln Riley Heisman, but he's got a ton of guys that are playing together, playing a very good system. They're buying into the system, how they play. And Moss Miller is a talented. What a coming out party.
We saw a great one at Texas. Now we see another great one. And there's some other very good quarterbacks in the league. So right now we are 0-0 in the league. And so is USC.
It's coach. It's got to be. It's like we're in a multiverse, like 3-dimensional Bermuda Triangle. We're playing USC for the starting
the Big Ten schedule.
And the Big Ten
schedule. And it's warm out and in September in the state of Michigan, which is great.
It's beautiful.
And, it's beautiful out, and but isn't it great?
The
best. That kid at Oregon's great quarterback too. I'm gonna tell you, mark my words, that guy at Michigan State's pretty doggone good. He's not throwing for a high percentage. He's throwing 56% of his, but he hits big ones, man.
Yeah.
I mean, he throws it down. He's not afraid to. I mean, he can uncork it and throw it deep, and he's a big, strong kid. And the guy at Maryland's playing well. The Ohio State quarterback's playing well. I mean, there's a lot of talent in this league. I should mention that there's a consequential game tomorrow. Is it tomorrow night? Yeah, well, it's coming out Thursday. Yeah, so we'll say tomorrow night, Friday night, in Omaha and Lincoln, Nebraska, where Illinois is going to play an undefeated and good Illinois team. They're going to play Nebraska and to a capacity crowd. They've had 400 sellouts in a row, and that's going to be fun to watch. I'm looking forward to that. And that's a consequential game.
Matt Rule.
We're in the schedule now.
Matt Rule is a force to be reckoned with in college football. He came back. He's done everything right at Nebraska, bringing in top recruits, NIL, all the social media.
He got the quarterback, and he paid for him.
Yeah. Oh, and he paid for him. But man, he's saying he is an old school guy with new school values. He's a
Penn State guy. He's a Paterno guy.
Yeah, I'm excited that I want Nebraska to be great.
And the defensive coordinator at USC played his football at Penn State.
Yeah.
And these guys are disciples of Joe Paterno's great coach. And they've always had great teams there.
Well, it's so crazy. All these guys, like
quarterback at Penn State's been playing good too. By the way, we're not going to see him.
Yeah.
But maybe we will. The top 2 teams will play in the championship games. So we only hope to do that. But now it's SC. So as we look around the league, there's a lot of exciting things happening. I'm going to tell you, Indiana football right now has changed.
I love
changed under this guy Cignetti. And this
Cignetti's
guy is
awesome.
Determined to win.
Cignetti, Bielema, Luke Fickell. I mean, the coaches around our league, Lincoln Riley, Judd Fish up in Washington. I know they lost to Washington State, but all these head coaches.
He's a great coach. And I'm going to tell you, the old man at Iowa, don't count him out ever. That guy can coach.
Yep.
Now, they haven't moved the ball the way they like, but, we always root for that quarterback over there, our former quarterback who took us to a championship. but never count him out either. They're playing a big game against Minnesota this week prior to our game. And this is a rivalry game, Iowa and Minnesota. And then Minnesota comes to our stadium. And, it's been to our great advantage that we've had all these home games, and we sure have to take advantage of it. Everybody's excited to see USC. I am optimistic. I'm optimistic about Michigan football.
This is a
I
rival.
look at it a lot different than other people who haven't been there myself.
This is a rivalry team, Coach. USC. We play them in the Rose Bowl. There's nothing more beautiful than those two jerseys going at each other on the side.
It's right behind you.
There's
a beautiful right behind you, and I can see it. When you were on the team, when we played out there, and they beat us, I think 28-14. I don't know who was Leinart. They had Leinart.
John David Booty and Dwayne Jarrett.
Oh yeah,
they were.
And they had a great linebacker out there. Played great that game. And we were very competitive. Chad Henne. But anyway, yeah, SC and Michigan. I think.
What's the best SC Michigan game you've ever seen? That's in your history. What do you think?
It would be whatever. I think it would probably be the game for me, when Bo beat him when they had Junior Seau in the Rose Bowl.
That's got to
say that because we were victorious. And it's hard to go out there and beat them. Larry Smith, one of Bo's old coaches, one of my coaches, was the head coach at SC then. And we were able to beat them in the Rose Bowl.
Were you on staff, or was this after you?
John Robinson, who was very difficult. We didn't ever beat John, I don't think. And he had gifted teams, great teams.
Were you on staff during this, or were you?
Yeah, with Robinson. Yeah, I was on staff with Robinson. Yeah. I was out when Bo beat Smitty, Coach Smith. Yeah. But I was there as broadcasting. So nice. Anyway, WJR back in the old days, Frank Beckman. But there's been some wonderful games. Both teams have, gifted athletes. These are two great, storied traditions. And, we love to beat them, but to beat them, you're going to have to, it's a challenge. SC is no different than, the great traditions that are out there. And you can name them: Alabama, Ohio State, the teams that historically have been good year in, year out over decades, in Notre Dame, places like that. So this is a great matchup. I think when we look at the way we match up, it's not bad, because I think their defense is not 100% back, in my opinion. Now they have some players that they put in there, and they've played well, and they're better, but they're still giving up some yards. But they've only given up, I think, 10 points a game. The last game, I don't know. They played 2 games, LSU, and the last game is of little consequence. Anyway, and so statistically, it shouldn't affect us. And they played
Utah State, Utah State.
But they're not, they're evolving as a program too, and they've had their struggles. We are young and making a lot of mistakes. But if we can minimize those mistakes, if we can win the turnover battle, win the kicking battle, play great defense, control field position, not get behind, make it a close game. We have that wonderful field goal kicker. We can't, if SC jumps ahead of us like Texas did, we're not in a position, and everybody's saying this, to pass the ball up and down the field easily, with great ease. We lost great receivers. The young receivers seem to be starting to evolve. The freshman kids played, and we're getting better there. We're young at the offensive line. I think we got to do some things like keep tight end over on the right side, maybe play some 2 tights, run some 2 receiver patterns, some things like that. So we have the protection that's needed. Then maybe we can do some things with the fullback, run some delays or tight end delays, things like that. Maybe a screen pass or 2, but certainly play action passes. They're going to come up. They're going to put men in the box to stop the run. Well, if you were their defensive coach, you'd be looking at it and say, I'm going to challenge them to pass. I'm going to put people up there, and if they can throw the ball over our head, then we'll adjust. But I don't think they can do it. I mean, that's what he's looking at.
Michigan fans need to be ready to see USC's defense, they play a lot like we used to play. Believe in your scheme, coach your scheme up, and get your players to believe in it. And I think there's merit in all different types of defense. And I think we're pretty similar. Probably call a lot of the same stuff. The terminology is the same, but we're blitzing a lot more. You're gonna see USC do the run wall, the hard edges, the leveraging the football. They're not gonna. Last year they left people on islands, kind of. We are a little bit, and they didn't have leverage to the football. I just watch missed tackles, watch leverage on both sides of the ball. If we can get better at leveraging the football, if we don't leave our guys on an island, if we pick the right times to blitz, I think that we can play a great defensive game plan and we can slow this quarterback down. I think we can get
the quarterback at least have to reset his feet.
Yes.
When he goes back there and stands there, it's not good. If he goes back there and we have a push or rush and he has to move out of the way of somebody pushing one of his
offensive
linemen.
linemen.
They're weak. They have not played. Their tackles have not played well. Their tackles are their vulnerability. Your offensive tackles at SC, they have not played well. They have a lot of pressures against them and a couple sacks. So if we can get that and make him reset his feet, and when you do that, when you reset your feet, then you got to readjust your vision downfield, and then it's harder to complete. And this guy, I think the ball comes out, but I don't think it comes out like Ewers. Ewers was 2.5, so it's hard to get to that guy.
Yeah.
And this guy holds the ball a little bit longer. And so if we can get to him and pressure him, we got to, Stewart and these guys got to play great football. They got to defeat the man over them. There comes a time in football where you rush 4 men and you just defeat the guy over you. You defeat him and get to the quarterback. You get a 4-man rush, which allows you to cover everybody. And you got to do that. And we have the ability and the talent to do that. We have the guys to do that. And that's what I said at the beginning of the season. The great thing we have is we can get pressure with a 4-man rush. Now, we haven't proven to do that, and I'm not sure what the issue is there, but we got to do that. We got to do that sometimes and then play zone coverage and cover everybody.
I'm excited to see Wink Martindale's how he progresses, what his game plan changes are, and how he puts the kids in chances to succeed. Because that's what we need to do.
I'm going to repeat again. We cannot let SC get ahead of us by 2 or 3 touchdowns and then, feel like the time's moving on us and we got to pass. And
I throw it 3 yards. 5 yards, 2 yards, throw a hitch, throw a check down, check it down.
Sometimes when you have these guys like Orgy, when they run the ball, then you can hit them on posts and big ones because they'll come in the run.
If you complete 50% of your passes, one's in the dirt, but one's a touchdown, it's not that.
That's okay.
It ain't that bad.
When you throw it in the dirt, you're not throwing it to them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
The problem is when you throw it to them. So, you got to look at every turnover as a touchdown. If you want to do mathematically, from an analytics standpoint, every turnover is worth about 6 points.
Yeah.
So, when you turn the ball over, we're like, we're minus 1.3. That means we're going to turn the ball over 1.3 times a game to the other team more than they will give it to us. That's like spotting them almost 10 points. You can't spot people 10 points with turnovers. You can't do it. You got to have to, and I'm telling you what, I do believe. Guy throws a couple interceptions, you say sit down. Sit down.
Well, nobody's above that. You got to earn what you eat. You got to be a hunter out there. You got to go make plays happen. You can't. And
you got to demand. You got to demand excellence, and you got to be a results oriented coach.
Expectation for the position.
You can love a guy, but if you can't produce your results, you got to have results. Results.
It's the expectation for the position, coach. The expectation is not to throw 3 and to turn the ball over 3 times.
You can't have it. You're not going to win. When you have
you've seen great.
What happens is when you have a superior team and you play Arkansas State and you throw that many interceptions, the game looks close.
Yeah.
Now, people around the country are judging it by the closeness of the score. They don't understand the complexion of the game, which is really to our benefit. So people don't think, well, geez, Arkansas State, for God's sake, they only beat them by, a small amount. But it's not true. That game was never in doubt, and we were in control of that game. By the same token, we can't we can't hit guys out of bounds. We can't. That's crap. That's not right. Can't do it. We're not going to accept it. And I'm sure that's how they're being coached.
Run to the football, we got to get gang tackles. We got to push the guy backwards. We got to run to the football.
Let them into the ball. Let them into the ball. Let them into the ball.
Hey, Coach, before I let you give your last remarks, we're winding down. I know we said 30 minutes. We always go to about 45. It's Anthony Carter's birthday week. I saw this on Twitter. I didn't know he was born. He's born during the season. You got any good Anthony Carter birthday stories, or did he ever score any big touchdowns on his birthday or anything like that?
I'm going to tell you about Carter. Here's what I tell people about Carter. He did not talk much. In fact, I had to fight him even during the senior year. Sports Illustrated came. Coach, I want to talk to him. I want to talk to him because I don't want to be set aside from my teammates. That's how he was, He was a quiet leader, and he did not want publicity. But during the game, I'd be up in the box, and he'd get on the phone and say, Coach, get me the rock. Get me the rock. Get me the rock. Get it to me, Coach. Get it to me. You wanted the ball. And during tough times, when it was, in adversity, give me the ball, Coach. Tell me, get it to me. Get it to me. And when we got it to him, and I'm not sure, I think he scored 1 out of 3 times he touched it. If he would have played in this era, I always feel bad. I was a better coach. I could have put him out there and run some of those jailbreak screens with him. He'd still be running. That guy was so gifted. But that's Anthony Carter. He had a genius in his movements and truly gifted. The economy of the way he moved out there, and a tremendous competitor, and one of the toughest guys I've ever met. And I'm gonna tell you, the thing I also say about Anthony is he's one of the greatest fathers I've ever seen, and he is so dedicated. And I always tell him, I'm so proud of you, Anthony. You're such a fine man, and one of the great Michigan men. One of the great, there's certain guys that are up there, Woodson, Carter. There's certain guys that are up there, McCarthy, Deerdorf, that were just so great. And the definition of greatness is consistent excellence. So what we have to be when our kids play this weekend, they have to be consistently good. Every play, they have to be consistently good. They got to be mentally tough. They got to adjust. They got to play hard. They got to play with passion. They got to eliminate those mistakes that they've made in the past, learn from them, and get better. Our coaches have to look at what we do well and where our abilities lie, and then exploit that and not ask them to do what they cannot do. I've witnessed this many times where coaches watch pro football and they put these plays in. Kids aren't have the ability to do it. So if you got orgy, run them.
Yeah.
So if you got a hunting dog, Bobby Bowden said, let them hunt. Yeah. If you got a racehorse, let them run. And that's Alex. And so let's get them in a position to run. At the same time, if they make the mistake of putting too many people up there, he can throw the ball. And I think once he gets in there and gains some confidence and gets going, I think he's going to do well. And he was the starter. And then I understand that during 2 days, he just played very badly and threw a lot of interceptions. And they got nervous. And that's why Davis, who played consistently well, and that's why they named, and it was very close, named him starter. So now Alex is getting a chance.
Well, and Tuttle got hurt too.
Tuttle got hurt. But I'm excited. I'm really excited about this game because of this.
I want to
other things.
I live and die with Orgy. Put him in. Let's see what happens. I don't like taking him out after a bad throw. Let him get going. Let him throw the ball. Let him use his legs.
Well, we're putting it on him, so do it. There's your chance to do it. And so, he is no different. The story is different, but he's overcome tremendous adversity, to get here. So now he's here. Milroe played really poorly last year, and he didn't, the quarterback at Alabama was not one of the great quarterbacks in the country. I mean, playing unbelievably well. They benched him.
In the first couple games, he struggled. He got benched.
They benched him too, and he came back.
People forget about that, though.
We need to support all these guys like we always do, unwavering Michigan fans. I'm really excited about the game. I've been excited about having SC come to Ann Arbor for a long time. Those beautiful headgears and the greatest uniforms in all of sports. University of Michigan headgear with those maize and blue uniforms. Just the spectacle of those two historic, beautiful headgears and uniforms is just going to be fun to see it on the field, like it always has been in the past. But it's always been in Pasadena, California. Yeah. And now it's going to be in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and it's the first Big Ten game. It's crucial. It is crucial that we win. It's critical. If we want to be champions, we have to win this game. And I think we can do it. We got to play great. And they represent a great challenge. But I think we have the elements there to have a really good year. Now, it's a tough year, and we're spoiled. We haven't lost until we lost to Texas. We haven't lost since TCU 660 days ago. So we've got to stay behind these guys, watch them grow, watch them evolve. And it's the University of Michigan. They're coming into our stadium, and they have to beat us. And so, like I always say, let's get the first stop on defense. Our defense has got to play great for us to win. They have to be outstanding. We cannot get behind. And let's get the first down, get some confidence, and run the ball with passion and toughness. And then when the time comes, we got to strike and hit them with some passes. And I think we can do it.
Well, good, Coach. I'm super excited, ready to go. Like I said, let's eliminate some of those mistakes. Let's not turn the ball over and
you said it earlier. Execute on defense, execute on offense, execute. And let's not forget open field tackling. SC has some gifted players. So when they get in the open, and that's one of the hardest things to do. In football, it's very difficult to block another man. We see that. The USC sees that. One of the most hardest things to do is block another man. The equation in football is the offense knows when and where, the defense can use their hands. But these athletes are tough to block, even though now the offense can engage them with their hands. And then open field tackling is important, and that's a technique. You look at those numbers on that belly button, and you don't waver, and you make you make a tackle, and that eliminate yards after reception and break and missed tackles or tackles that are broken. Same as a missed tackle, can kill you in a game like this. And by the same token, we got to have some big plays on offense. Our guys got to come through there and let their ability express itself in the context of the offense, which I think is going to be, we're going to see some different things than we've done before to utilize Alex's ability to run and threaten the defense with his legs and then make some big plays. And hold on to the ball, for God's sakes, no turnovers.
Well, you guys heard it here. Coach Thornbladh obviously rolling with the maize and blue like always, giving our positive outlook on how we can make it happen against USC this weekend. I'm hoping we're here next week talking about the Big Ten aspirations still being with us. As always, Coach, I appreciate you. It was fun.
Okay, brother. Love ya.
Go Blue.
Oh, go Blue. Beat SC.
Beat SC. Here, hold on, dog. Don't get off. Don't. That's the thing. We always click off, and it takes